The progressionalism and transformation of education has flourished over time and has evolved to what education is today. During the era of the 1950s, one historical period that has transformed education of separation but equal within society. From a segregated school system to a more integrated, redefined school system has influenced our society's education today. Brown versus Board of Education lasted approximately 4 years, and the decision was made under the Supreme Court's justice system. As presented by Bethany D. Collins, Brown versus Board of Education decision 40 years later, the fight to resolve the issues of segregation within the school system have subsided, and race should not dignify or signify or deny any person under the Constitution the right to life, liberty, or property. After the Supreme Court system ruled under the decision of education of outlawing segregated within the school system, Reformation continued to persevere on with taking major strides prohibiting segregation within the school system. Such advances included in the article Little Rock 9 in Arkansas in 1957, and 10 years after came the NAACP's mass movement for legal changes. Equal opportunities was provided in the text as a major focal point and a turning point in history itself regarding education. While advances and changes were made, the text describes briefly the background surrounding the court case of Brown v. Board of Education and overview of how this court case transformed the eyes of progressionalism and transformation of education has flourished over time and has evolved to what education is today. During the era of the 1950s is one historical period that I consider transformed education of separation but equal for society. From a segregated school system to a more integrated reform school system has influenced our society and education today. Brown versus Board of Education lasted for approximately 4 years before a decision was made under the Supreme Court justice system. As presented by Bethany D. Collins, Brown versus Board of Education's decision 40 years later, the fight to resolve the issue of segregation within the school system has subsided, and race should not signify or deny a person under the Constitution for their right to life, liberty, or property. After the Supreme Court ruled on their decision of education and outlawing segregation within the school system, Reformation continued to persevere on with taking major strides to prohibiting segregation within the school system. Such advances included in the article where the Little Rock 9 in Arkansas in 1957, and 10 years after came the NAACP mass movement for legal changes. Equal opportunities was provided in the text as a major focal point and a turning point in history itself regarding education. While advances and changes were made, the text describes briefly the background surrounding the court case Brown v. Board of Education and an overview of how this court case transformed the ideals of society. Lawrence A. Crimmen is the author of the book titled The Transformation of the School. He formally described the professionalism in education through 1867 and 1957 as the progressive era of education. It is becoming a way of thinking in society and a way to improve American quality of life through knowledge. Education negates the professionalism of gathering political momentum during the decades to come. As reviewed by Goodreads, I found 6 reviews that described the book, The Transformation of the School, by Lawrence A. Crimmen. One review described the book constructively, stating that the author focused primarily on the transformation of education and John Dewey's educational philosophy and impacts of the professionalism within education. Furthermore, while both studies presented from 2 perspectives, both by Bethany and Lawrence, the professionalism of education throughout the years. Several discoveries that I have encountered reviewing these articles, Brown v. Board of Education, decision 40 years later, and the transformation of school, was that although the Supreme Court ruled against segregation within the school system, Linda Brown was the center focal point of a major Supreme Court case, only being 7 years old. So several facts that I've came across that I found astonishing while reading these articles was that Linda Brown actually had to go back to the court system and had to sue Topeka again for allowing their school to remain segregated in 1979. The court case alleviated some problems associated with education, but not all the problems that persisted in the land of the equal opportunities. Another astonishing fact that I discovered while reviewing the articles was by Horace Mann, who fought for the progressive opportunities of education. He concluded that there should be changes made to allow everyone the opportunity for education. His philosophy can allow others to have the right to education to help influence America with strong-minded individuals. America was more industrialized and influenced by the contemporary development of an industrialized revolutionary nation. While discovering new information across each text, I found that education has been influenced by socialism and reformation of patriotism. Those who have strived to create changes within the educational system began fighting for equal opportunities and right to pursuit of happiness. It was never easy, but the persistence is what enabled changes to occur, even though it took time. Later, I read DOT's 2019 Educational Foundations, which summarized how education